Good morning, good people. Happy Tuesday morning. Today is what? November 26th. I hope you had a peaceful night and you started your Tuesday on a good foot and you're having a peaceful day and peaceful morning. Why I'm not wishing everybody, happy day? Well, maybe we're not feeling that happy these days, but at least peaceful, okay? But if you are feeling happy, I'm very, very happy for you. Now, let's get into the headlines. This is the AM actual news version, which is straightforward news just to get you out of the door and keep you going. So, first things first is let's talk about airlines. So, a U.S. Senate panel on Tuesday criticized rising airline fees for seat assignments and luggage and announced plans to call airline executives to testify on December 4th. When you get a ticket, let's say on any airline pretty much, and you don't tap to assign a seat and pay extra, and then whenever you do your check in and to get your boarding pass, and then you want to get your seat assigned, you have to pay extra, and it now is sort of like three times the price as it was just a year ago. So that's what they're talking about. Senator Richard Blumenthal, who chairs the permanent subcommittee on investigations, will convene a hearing titled "The Sky's the Limit: New Revelations About Airline Fees," with senior executives from American Airlines, United Airlines, Delta Airlines, Spirit Airlines, and Frontier Airlines scheduled to testify. So, certainly very interesting and very much do, because now, as we're traveling, and yesterday I reported 80 million people will be traveling for Thanksgiving, and 18 million out of those are flying. So, certainly they're making a lot of money just on this seat assignments alone. Next is drill baby drill. Remember the narrative that Trump pretty much was running on during the election season? So it would work if those executives were on board. So US oil industry focused on capital discipline, limited production growth under Trump. So Exxon Mobil's Liam Mallon stated that U.S. oil and gas producers are unlikely to dramatically increase production under President elect Trump, as companies remain committed to capital discipline. Mallon emphasized that while relaxed land permitting could provide a short term production boost, a significant change in output is unlikely due to companies prioritizing economic efficiency and quality. Trump has promised to increase domestic energy production during his campaign, and his transition team is reportedly preparing on an energy package for his early days in office. Despite this, the U.S. is already the world's leading oil producer thanks to a boom in shale oil production. So, pretty much, it's a big no from the industry to Trump. Now, what I wish, may I add, I wish they would have said that way before. We've heard from the leader of Exxon Mobil before in terms of that we need to invest in climate change, combating climate change and fighting. And so he, encouraged U.S. and specifically Trump administration not to leave the Paris Agreement, but. I wish this would have been stated before, because that was one of the strongest points for Trump to run on. Next thing, Medicare and Medicaid drugs. So Biden proposes expanded coverage for anti-obesity drugs in Medicare and Medicaid. According to Reuters, President Biden was planning to propose. This was yesterday night. This broke the news, and today it is official. He's proposing to expand Medicare and Medicaid coverage for anti-obesity drugs, potentially reducing out-of-pocket costs by up to 95%. This move would make medications like Mounjaro, Ozempic, and Wegovy more affordable for millions of Americans, helping to prevent type 2 diabetes and lower the risk of heart disease and death. The new regulation would extend coverage to approximately 3.4 million Medicare recipients and 4 million Medicaid enrollees who currently do not have access to these drugs for obesity treatment. Good notion. Now, we have less than 2 months left. So will that be realistic come January 20th? Will we even have Medicare and Medicaid coverage? So that remains to be seen, but I guess it's a good notion. Now let's talk about tariffs in case you missed it. So Trump did announce plans to impose tariffs as a response to what he described as an escalating crisis at the US border, including crime, drugs, and illegal immigration. He stated that on January 20th, he would sign an executive order imposing a 25% tariff on all goods from Mexico and Canada, which would remain in place until both countries address issues like the flow of fentanyl and illegal immigration. Certainly, Canada woke up to some interesting news that apparently caravans are crossing the border from Canada and they're like shipping the drug lords to United States. What did Canada do? And what's with Canadian border? This question that I can't answer. Trump also criticized China for failing to curb the shipment of fentanyl into the U.S. and threatened to impose an additional 10% tariff on Chinese goods unless they take stronger action to stop the drug trade. Okay, now what I stated yesterday, let's remember. So we have an agreement actually with Mexico and Canada where we have free trade. And with China, we do have already tariffs varying from 25% to 100%. So this 10% would be in addition to it. Now, please note that while these tariffs will most likely increase prices for American consumers, I mean, I'm just being nice, most likely, definitely. They do not necessarily address the underlying border issue. A more effective solution would be passing a comprehensive border bill to ensure additional resources are allocated to solve the problem. They're lacking manpower at the border. They're lacking judges. They're lacking, those who can enforce the law pretty much. So for this reason, this doesn't solve anything. It just gives an excuse to, I don't even know what, to pass tariffs that we will end up paying. So, the federal income tax relief or whatever, the extinction of those type of taxes was promised, but this is not being talked about at all. Now it's just in addition to everything that we already pay, we're now having tariffs, or will be having tariffs. So I don't know what you think about it. I don't think there is nothing positive about it. Now, quick news from Mar-a-Lago. So, top Trump aide is accused of asking for money to promote potential picks. Trump ordered the investigation by his legal team into Boris Epstein, a powerful figure in the transition. This Epstein guy denies the allegations. Apparently, he was taking money to promote folks to be picked and nominated by Trump. Natalie Harp, a 33-year-old former anchor on a right-wing cable show on One American News Network, which is very pro-Trump, has become the gatekeeper for information to and from the president-elect. She carries around a printer to show him positive articles and takes dictation for his social media posts. May I add, dear Natalie, not everything has to be capitalized that you think is important, because it kind of looks weird on the yard. Trump endorsed Jimmy Patronis in the special election for Gates' House seat. Patronis is an American politician and the former CFO of the state of Florida. He was previously a member of the Florida House of Representatives, representing the 6th District, which includes Panama City and other parts of Southern Bay County. Now, most importantly, he backed a plan to use public funds to pay for Trump's legal fees. And that's where the cookie crumbles. Okay, Afghanistan. We go from Mar-a-Lago to Afghanistan. We're transitioned, but here we are. Now, UN reports 256 detention of journalists by Taliban in Afghanistan, which is a huge deal. So certainly we do need coverage from Afghanistan, but journalists are now being detained in masses. So according to a report from United Nations mission in Afghanistan, the Taliban have detained journalists 256 times since taking power 3 years ago, citing arbitrary arrest, intimidation, and unclear reporting rules as challenges for media workers. The UN urged the Taliban to ensure the safety of journalists, particularly women, in the face of these difficult conditions. In response, the Taliban's foreign ministry denied the detentions were arbitrary, claiming those arrested had committed crimes, including spreading misinformation or acting against the government. So again, spreading misinformation and against the government. So that's where we are. The Taliban's government has not been internationally recognized, and their strict interpretation of Islamic law continues to shape the media landscape in Afghanistan. So certainly, if you're a journalist or if you do cover Afghanistan, let's keep our hats on the swivel. Now let's talk about the ceasefire. So yesterday, yes, it was announced that Lebanon and Israel are very close to making a deal. So Israel is reportedly moving towards a ceasefire with Hezbollah, with the Israeli government confirming progress in negotiations, though some issues remain to be resolved. U.S. mediator Amos Hochstein has expressed optimism about the talks, which have been ongoing since last week. Now, this is about Lebanon and Israel. It has nothing to do with Gaza, right? This is the northern border of Israel and southern border of Lebanon, the blue line, so to speak. So the conflict, which began in September, has caused significant casualties and displaced over 1 million people in Lebanon. And the casualties are 3,500 people died in Lebanon. Diplomatic efforts are centered on a ceasefire in line with UN Security Council Resolution 1701, which ended the 2006 Hezbollah-Israel war and called for Hezbollah's fighters to retreat from the border region. Now, in other news, Yemen joins the Russia's side. So the Kremlin has reportedly recruited Houthi rebels from Yemen to fight in Ukraine, offering high salaries and Russian citizenship. However, many were allegedly forced to sign contracts at gunpoint without understanding the terms, as many of the recruits couldn't read. This recruitment effort, which began in July 2024, was not documented nor reported on, has already resulted in significant casualties among the mercenaries. The move is seen as part of Russia's strategy to avoid deploying its own elite citizens to the front lines. So, and folks are talking about World War III and whatnot. Ukraine is facing not just Russia, but also Iran, with the help of Chinese, Russia with the help of Iranians and Chinese, literally North Koreans, and now literally mercenaries from Yemen. So how many countries are fighting Ukraine that literally just has been allowed to strike inside Russia and target their, military targets and also equipment to prevent those strikes? So interesting. Now, in terms of Russia and their negotiations, remember Trump said that he will finish the war in 24 hours and he will be done with everything and Russia will be negotiating and there's a peace agreement. Yeah. Well, Russia today announced that they don't want any peace agreement. And this is now final. So Russia categorically rejects any option for freezing the conflict in Ukraine. And this was stated by Sergei Naryshkin, the director of the Foreign Intelligence Service of Russia. He added that Russia wants to establish a solid peace around Ukraine for years to come, meaning a win. And by solid peace, he means Ukrainian capitulation and Russia's victory. So here we are with the 24-hour peace agreement and everything being flipped and turned around. And that's the news I have for you for this morning. It's not a very busy morning, which is kind of good, right? No, a lot of news is good news. Let's check your comments real quick. Jan, hey Jan, hello. That's what my Canadian friends want to know. What did they do? Exactly. We, woke up to this Canadian border with caravans and allegedly drug lords. What? Good morning, Yash. Good morning. Oh, that's a nice emoji. Rosie Marie, good morning. Good morning. Trump wants to be the president of the entire world. Yeah. Yeah, she sure does indeed. Good morning, Vivian. Good morning. Um, Rosemary says, I answered what you were going to ask. Okay. If you guys have any question, tap it in. Ukraine is not fighting alone. We are with them until the end. Indeed. Yeah. And when is the end? That's the question here. Good morning, Chinetta. Good morning. Beautiful blouse. Stole it from mom. Okay. She will see, she will complain. Good morning. Thank you, though. Appreciate it so much. Okay, guys, we're done with the news. I'm going to see you tonight, and I'm going to work all day on the app. So please vote. I send you a newsletter. So if you're not on the newsletter, please sign up because that's where you're going to get your invite to join the app. Honest.substack.com. Also, a bunch of news, actual news I sent you last night about Biden, about all this, everything that's going on. And so there, I'm asking you to vote how to name our app. Do you want it to be named Actual News? Do you want it to be named Honest or Honest Press? Because I know some people know me just by the username. The company is Honest Network. So, so what do you prefer? Because that's kind of like really important. So we can integrate it. I can integrate it into the app. Make it a great day. Hey, Callie, good morning. Yes, exactly. Have a good day, everyone. Absolutely. So on this note, Rosie Marie is absolutely right. Make it a great day. Vivian says, let's give thanks to oh God. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Like it, share it. It's just 15 minutes of your time and we get sort of like the quickest news. I turned on MSM and it's like all about Mar-a-Lago nominees still, and I'm over it. So let's keep our head on a swivel, keep it positive. I see you tonight at 9 p.m. for the actual news about everything that happens between now and then. And hopefully it's not much, and if anything, it's positive. Okay? So have a great day. Thank you so much for thanking me. I'm reading I'm reading Callie, who says always thank you, Callie. So thank you so much for joining me, and see you tonight. Have a great day.